Hi, my name is LaShonda Sugg, and I'm a therapist and consultant. I'm also the owner of Labors of Love Counseling and Consulting in Cincinnati, Ohio. I wanted to provide some information why I am in support of declaring a state of emergency on childhood trauma. The Adverse Childhood Experience study that was conducted from 1995 to 1997 through Kaiser Permanente has given us a wealth of information to draw from. And what that study has demonstrated is that adverse experiences during childhood have far reaching impacts for the person experiencing them, for their children and generations that are coming after them, and for communities as a whole. When we now have the opportunity to take very proactive action to help children heal from the experiences of trauma that they're experiencing, we're not only investing in the children today, but we're investing in the generations to come. In order to help give you even a little bit more information on why I'm so passionate about this, I want to talk a little bit about trauma as an experience. I've heard several people say or suggest that trauma is a head thing. If you can just change how you think about what you've been through, you'll be able to kind of forget and overcome those experiences. Unfortunately, that is not accurate information because trauma is not a cognitive or a head experience, it's a body experience. And the body keeps the score. A fantastic reference for how trauma is stored in the body and how we can build resilience in those who have experienced trauma is a book by that title, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. And what happens, and for all humans, how we take in information is through our five senses. So what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we hear, and what we sense through our skin. And that information comes to our body first. Our body sends a signal to our brain, and our brain interprets that information. See, our brain is only able to interpret that information based on experiences that we've previously had. And so if a person has been traumatized and had traumatic experiences and numerous adverse experiences, then all information they get in the present is being filtered through a system that is geared towards keeping them safe and helping them to survive. So what we see from people who have experienced trauma, the symptoms of their traumatic experiences are very much their attempts to stay alive, stay safe, and avoid pain. Unfortunately, many of these experiences have been systemically punished. So when we see things like aggression or addiction and all of these things that we build policies and systems around to try to decrease through punishment, what we're actually doing is reinforcing the experiences that many people who have experienced trauma have already had. By declaring a state of emergency on childhood trauma, we are able to not only create systems that will create the safety for these children to heal from their experiences, but we can provide the necessary support, education, and resources to the systems that already exist to do the same. When I think about childhood trauma, I think about universal precautions. Universal precautions is an approach to infectious control to essentially say that we are going to make the assumption that any human blood and some other bodily fluids are infectious, even if they're not. And by making that assumption, we then have protocols and we have tools and we have measures that we take to ensure the safety of the person who's engaging with the bodily fluid and for the community as a whole. Now, some of those things are proper hand washing, wearing gloves, having necessary receptacles to dispose of these bodily fluids. And when we have this universal precaution, we know that we don't have to know very specifically if that bodily fluid is infectious or what the infection may be, but that we're going to maintain safety regardless. When we can look at the prevalence of trauma across our country, particularly in underserved neighborhoods and communities in which we live, the universal precaution is that many people within that community has experienced at least one adverse childhood experience, but more than likely many. And when we can equip and give full resources to those who are frequently engaging with the people who have experienced trauma, then we are building safety in as a whole, and we are helping create the environment where they can heal. When we do not address childhood trauma, we are perpetuating a cycle that we are actually reaping the results of right now. So, a traumatized brain is also a dysregulated brain, and that dysregulation lives in our bodies. So, we're sending children who are in survival mode and their bodies are dysregulated off to institutions of learning on a daily basis. A dysregulated brain cannot learn. A dysregulated body is sending messages to a brain that is interpreting it as danger all the time. So we have children who have experienced adverse experiences and trauma sitting in classrooms simply wondering how they're going to survive. It's very frustrating for the educators who are told that they're supposed to educate these children, and how they know they're educating them is to get them to behave a certain way within the classroom setting and to pass tests. And all that child's brain is trying to do is keep it alive. Declaring a state of emergency on childhood trauma would allow the proper training, resources, and tools to get into the hands of the educators, into law enforcement, into the various areas of our society that engage with these young people on a daily basis. Help them get a true understanding of what trauma is, how it impacts the brain and body, and how we help build resilience in these people who have experienced it so that they can create safety for themselves, how they can learn what safety feels like, how they can heal, and how they can grow. I'm very well aware that a video this short cannot even begin to explain the magnitude of the importance of addressing childhood trauma. But I wanted to begin by just allowing my perspective on it to be heard, that it is definitely something that is in need of immediate attention. I look forward to continued conversations with those who are willing to have them. I would love to be a resource to provide education, information, and tools to all those who want to help create the safety necessary for our children to heal. You can find more information about me at www.thelaborsoflove.com. I look forward to continued conversations. Have a great day.